Well, hello, everybody. This is Dr. Stephen West. Starting the brand new school year, 2016-17 school year. This is our first show, and as we zoom in, look at this new virtual set we have. We are going big time. We're going big time here. I'm just so excited about this. Can we zoom out again real quick? I want the community to see how awesome. Can you zoom out again? I know my producer back there can zoom out. Okay, there it is. Okay, I want you to take a look at that. How amazing is that? And this is a virtual set. What do you ladies think about that?
I think it looks phenomenal.
I do
very
too.
awesome.
Yeah, there's a green screen behind it. It's so awesome. But I want to welcome you all to our first episode of Making It Great. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen West, the Superintendent of Schools. This is my third year of doing this. It's been exciting. And I have two guests here in the first segment that I am very, very excited to have you get introduced to. To my immediate left is Don Lueck.
Yes, good.
Because I want to say Lueck, or it's Lueck.
Lueck.
Lueck. And she is our principal, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to screw that up the whole year.
That's all right.
She's our principal at WK and at Rollingstone, and I want to welcome you officially here to our community.
Thank you.
We're going to talk a little bit in a second. And to my far left is an amazing person, Andrea Eisner. And she is our principal at Madison and Goodview, and we're very, very lucky to have both of them here. So let's cut right to the chase and get right into it. So let's start with you.
Okay.
Explain your background, where you're from, who are you?
Okay. Well, this is my 30th year of teaching, or in education, which is very hard for me to believe. I started out
30 years.
30 years, yeah. My first job was English, 8th grade English in Stewartville, and then I went to HOCA for a couple years, and I was the principal. It was St. Peter's. It's by La Crescent.
Okay.
And
is that Wisconsin or is that
it's still Minnesota.
See,
Yeah.
I don't
Little school.
Okay.
5 through 8, I was the principal and taught, and so at that time I went to get my master's in administration because I wasn't sure I knew what was going on.
I hear you.
And then I went to Lewiston, Altura, where I spent 18 years as an English teacher. I had a variety of classes, and I was a softball coach, head softball coach for many years.
I hear a rumor that you were part of the union leadership as well.
I was,
heard.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
So you were on the dark side.
I've been on both sides of the fence.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I did that, and then I decided I wanted to finish my certification in administration once my kids got older. Did that, and my first administrative job was at Winona Erie Catholic Schools, where I was for 3 years. And then I went to Rochester, where I've been the last 5 years. 2 years I spent as the district title coordinator and working in the district office with responding to conflict anywhere. Yeah. And then the last 3 years as assistant principal at Ben Franklin Elementary.
Wow.
So
you bring a wealth of background information, knowledge with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're lucky to take you from Rochester. We weren't sure we were going to get you. So it's awesome. Okay, Andrea.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here. This is my 25th year in education. It's hard to believe, like Don had said. It goes by fast.
Yeah.
I taught in elementary school for 11 years, 3rd grade, 5th grade, and 6th grade. We had 5th and 6th in our elementary
And where were
building.
you at?
At that time, I was in Omaha Public Schools, but I've also been in that teaching career. I was in Toma for a year and La Crosse for a year at St. Thomas More, which I don't think is no longer existing.
Okay.
And then we moved to Alabama, and I taught in Alabama public schools, Birmingham Public Schools for a year, which was very interesting.
Very diverse.
Very diverse, and just different school systems, so different ways of doing things. Got into administration about 15 years ago, and was an assistant principal for 3 years and a principal at about 3 different elementary schools, mainly in Omaha Public School. 18 years of my tenureship has been in Omaha Public Schools. So
amazing. We're lucky to get you, and it's fascinating from my vantage point with you, trying to get yourself caught up with all the new Minnesota statutes and all of that. When you're in a different state, that's a little bit more tricky.
yes,
so.
taking class right now at WSU, so trying to get that done.
All right, so the year has started. We're 2 days in, 3 days in some cases here. What's some goals for you, Andrea?
I think my main personal goal is to get really familiar with the district, and number one with my Goodview and my Madison families. I've been so very impressed with the dedicated staff we have and some really master teachers, which is great because we can learn from each other. So I want to build those trusting relationships with our students and our families, make sure they know who I am and understand where I come from.
So how are you going to do that?
I think just being really personal with them. I've already started with students, making rounds to every classroom, letting them know who I am. I started with staff last week. And letting them, I'm a very personal people person, so I don't have any qualms with letting them know about my personal life and some of the things, because I think that helps them to understand who I am. So those are kind of some things I want to. We want to really embed some strong instructional strategies. Specifically in math and reading. And so hopefully I have a lot in my toolbox that I can share in that way. But I'm impressed with the staff that we need to learn from each other and collaborate.
Excellent.
So.
How about you, Don?
Well, I would echo many of the same things Andrea talked about, but again, I have an advantage that I live in the community of Winona, so I have a pulse of the community, but getting that strong understanding of our families at Rollingstone and at WK is critical as well. Building those relationships is key. We want to have that community feel within both of our buildings and make our staff and students feel safe and happy and content so that they can do the business at hand. And then we're working really hard on implementing strong procedures and practices so that our instruction can improve in those areas of math and reading with those procedures in place. So that's what we're working on, and again, being very visible. I think being there, not being afraid to mop the floor, take a broom, do whatever it takes. So we're all in it together, and having everyone realize that it is a community, and we're all important.
And we all are, from our families to our community as a whole to what we do within the school system itself. So you're right, we're all in. So you talked a little bit about it, Andrea. What has impressed you overall about the system, about your schools in general, the superintendent?
Yes.
What has impressed you? I mean, go ahead. What do you think?
Well, I think what has impressed me and what kind of drew me back here is that I think that our structures that we're trying to put into place with our professional learning communities, building our culture, our instructional strategies are right on track and where we should be going. Data-driven, decisions-based, everything that we do should be based on data and moving forward in that way. So I think that's been very impressive. Our staff is amazing. We have excellent teachers and seasoned staff that have been here for many years and have a lot of quality experience. So I'm just hoping we can take those vehicles and give them those tools to do even greater things.
I agree.
I would reiterate some of the topic points that Dawn brought up. I will start with just from the initial phone call from Human Resources to set up a appointment for an interview was impressive to me. So that told me that this is an impressive district. Doing research on you and kind of knowing what your vision is for the district made me also very interested. Knowing that all the things we do throughout the last month of getting prepared for our staff and students has been with the right focus and goal in mind.
Which is kids.
Yeah, that's our business, right?
Yep.
And in the second segment, we're going to talk about some data, and I think people are concerned about our results, and which they should be. And what's fascinating, and I don't think the community as a whole understands the depth and breadth of assessments that we take, not just the snapshot of the MCA, but also the things that we do internally, especially at the elementary, from fall, winter, spring, FAST data, and those types that shows growth in our kids. And so I think it's important that folks like yourself are out there promoting our schools and letting them know. All right, so both of you have 2 schools. That has to be tough. What's the challenges of going between buildings?
I'm a hands-on person, so I will say a personal battle that's been going on just over the last couple of weeks is I want to be at every school every day, every minute of the hour, and that's not going to be possible. But also knowing that a good leader will make things run if we're there or not there. So these are very critical weeks to make sure our lunchroom procedures are in effect and running smoothly. So I think once I get used to that, I'll feel more comfortable with it. But it's something that it's going to get hard to get used to.
Before we go to you, Don, I have to tell you, this was the first district I've ever been at that had a principal between buildings. I've never been a part of that, and it's difficult as superintendent because I do believe every building deserves a leader at that building every day, every minute, and so it does create some challenges. Hence, we'll get to that down the road. But I think you're right. There are some challenges there. What about yourself?
Same way. I really like to be present, and it's also a challenge to make each staff empowered to do things when you're not there, but also to feel like you're not slighting anyone in the process. It's really hard because everybody's doing such great things and you want to be there and support it. So that's the challenge, and we set up a schedule. My time at Rollingstone is going to be very hands-on. I'm not taking my computer. I'm just going to be in the buildings.
In the building. Okay. Well, the last question I have before we end the segment is, we don't like to use the word initiatives because I don't believe anything we've actually done. There's, I think, one initiative. We've done a lot of best practices and systems. But any new best practices or initiatives that you're bringing to your building that, not that I wouldn't know about this, but they might not know, but are there anything?
I think just really revisiting our behavior, our expectations. Kind of going through that, making sure we're all understanding that, making it very visible in our building. That's one thing I haven't noticed, that in our commons area, that visibility is not there of our expectations. So I think I don't know that it'd be new, but maybe revisiting it and reviving that and making changes if we need to.
Absolutely.
And trying to be common in our practices amongst all the elementaries so that we can speak the same language and share that with our students and staff.
Okay,
in those, as far as behavior is concerned.
Absolutely. So we got about 2 minutes, but I really wanted to just touch on the rituals and routines. Can you let the community know, either one of you, what that is, this first 30-day thing that we're doing?
Well, we're doing lots of things that teachers are practicing, how to set up a guided reading group or rotations within their room, or how to line up properly in the hallway, or how to move from station to station within your classroom. Those kinds of things. We're talking about what it looks and sounds like in the cafeteria, how it sounds in the gym, the hallway, outside, those kinds of things, and then what to do when it's not working, and having a voice volume chart and making all those things very visible, and teaching, practicing. So that's what we're doing so that all those practices and instructional strategies can be in place.
Right. The philosophy being it's going to save us instruction time later down the road. Right. So
you
we
take care
can
of it
get
on
to
the front
teaching.
end.
Absolutely.
Proactive versus reactive.
So as we close out, I just wanted to say to both of you ladies, you've heard me say this, one, that I know that teachers drive anything with success of kids, so I'm very clear about the role of teachers. But the second most important aspect of that is the administration, the principals who kind of set the vision, to lead staff down that path for the betterment of children. In the end, it's about kids. And I couldn't be more excited about both of you in our system. It won't always be pleasant. Obviously, there will be times where you're up, you're down, I get it. But thank you so very, very much for what you've already done for us and what I believe you're going to bring. Just your wealth of knowledge is just so different than my first couple of years here. It's just exciting, and we're excited to have you.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
I got a great group here. That ends our first segment. We'll be back in a moment with Making a Grade. I'm so excited about the start of the school year.
This is HBC Job Finder. Looking for a great job starting at $14 an hour or bored with retirement? First Student needs drivers now for the 2016-17 school year and for sports and after-school activities. No experience necessary, full training provided at no cost. Flexible shifts and available benefits make this a great part-time job. School starts September 6th, so apply online or call 507-961-2176. For more information on this job and others, log on to jobs.hbci.com.
Get an edge over your competitors with HBC's Edge Small Business Package. Robust internet service with speeds up to 1 gigabit, 24/7 technical support, web hosting, co-location, and more from the area's leading provider in data services. Experience reliable, feature-rich phone service with unlimited local and domestic long-distance calling, caller ID, voicemail to go, and more. Plus, gain peace of mind with a 2-year price lock guarantee. Packages start at $76.20 per month. Call 888-474-9995 to experience the HBC difference today.
Well, welcome back to the second segment here of Making It Great. Again, I'm your host, Dr. Stephen West, Superintendent of Schools, Winona Area Public Schools. In my second segment, we're going to get a little bit deeper than just the fun-loving conversation we had the first segment around our new principals. To my immediate left is Mark Anderson. You probably know Mark. He was the principal at the middle school for a number of years, and now we have promoted Mark to the high school. How you doing?
I'm excited.
Yeah, you fired up.
I am really fired
This
up.
is the most low-key this guy is going to be. And you'll see when we get started here. To my far left is my Director of Learning and Teaching, Kelly Halvorsen. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
The year is up and running, like you said today.
That's
Your job has kind of slowed down a little bit.
Absolutely. Once those kids walk through the door, I'm good
You're
to go.
good to go. You're good to go. Well, okay, Mark, let's get to it. We're going to talk about scores, assessments, and things that, our MCAs and things like that. But what are you gearing up for? What's your focus going to be this year?
Building a culture.
Okay.
Building a culture of a lot of things at the high school,
Right.
of us getting along, of excellence.
Yeah.
And excellence isn't just being good because we think we're good, but
Right.
what does that mean in the classroom?
Right.
I spoke to the students yesterday in their class meetings when they got their
Yeah.
Chrome notebooks,
Yeah.
and we talked
They
about...
got Chrome notebooks.
Yes.
Wow. Everybody got a Chrome
Yes,
notebook.
absolutely.
Okay, excellent.
And we
Okay.
talked about what excellence would be if I walked into the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
that you're engaged, you're communicating with your peer if you're in a group, or your teacher's talking, you're engaged with that conversation, that I expect you to be engaged academically in the classroom, and anything that deters us from that is going to have some consequences to it.
Absolutely it is, yeah. And that's, people think it's easy to change culture, but it's not. It's hard to change a culture.
Absolutely.
It's easy to go bad. It's hard to make it true a culture of excellence. That's hard.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else you want to add to it?
We started that culture conversation this summer with some of the teachers who were on our scheduling committee with us.
Yeah.
So, and they're excited about it. We had some truth spoken this summer, and we were off to a great start.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the schedule before we go to Kelly, because I think it's important that I know there are community members thinking we're not doing anything about the schedule, and we are.
Absolutely.
We
We've
have
had about 6 to 7 meetings already this summer,
Right.
and we had our first one as our staff came back, and have one again next week.
So we have acknowledged, folks, on the 12-step plan that there is a problem, and we're going to work through this problem because we've heard from our community, and we know that people are concerned that our kids. I'm not a big fan of block just because I get people's concern about the idea of having a science and then not having science again, in a math class and not having it again. That's part of the block schedule, and so I think what I hear from community is, boy, could we get back to the basic courses every day for a year? And I think and I'm not going to impose myself on this right now, but your job is to work with your high school staff. One of the reasons we chose not to do anything the last year was we wanted to see if this thing's actually work, right?
Yep.
I mean, Kelly was the principal there. We didn't want to just blow the thing up, right? So,
Absolutely.
all right. Okay. All right, Kelly. We got to talk about some data, some assessments.
All right.
So overall, the MCAs, people get this headline that we didn't do very well.
Correct.
Your thoughts on that? Any thoughts?
Well, I would say definitely that we are disappointed in
Yeah.
the scores.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to keep a couple things in mind, that it's a snapshot of a kid.
Yeah.
We all have bad days, and that could have been a bad day for kids. There's a couple other nuances that happen, but we need to be careful about making excuses because we own the data. And we've been trying for the last couple of years to build a system, to build culture, to build a culture of learning. And so it's going to take some time. As you said, change isn't easy. So we put stake in the MCAs. It's our accountability system. But we also are working towards measuring learning in our classrooms and making sure that we're having guaranteed learning happening throughout with power standards and common assessments. And so we're really trying to build a system, and that takes time. So I'm hopeful we'll see change in the future.
We're going to see. The question is the MCAs and how that meshes with some other assessments we're doing in the classroom, because we have other things going on that show us something different.
Oh, absolutely. Like we said, the MCAs are a snapshot.
Yeah.
So it's a kid takes a test on one day. Our big internal assessment, we use FAST testing. In our early childhood, we were even doing assessments with our TS Gold. And then in our elementaries, we're using FAST Bridge, which our kids are testing in reading and math 3 times a year. And we're seeing a lot of growth in those kids. And like we've talked, that's our job, is to grow kids. They're not all going to come at a certain level. And so making sure we're meeting kids where they are and growing them and pushing them to go further. And then we have the NWA map at grades 5 through 10. And so our kids are testing in reading, math, and science at the high school. So those tests are giving us good data, and they're aligned with the MCAs. So we're using that, and that's building that system of being data-driven and making sure that we're meeting kids and making them and learning them.
And so although we are upset about the MCAs, we're not going to let the MCAs define us. We believe that we're trying to do something larger, something more extraordinary than just seeing 2 and 3 percentage points going up or dropping 4 or 5 percentage points. We want to see the system become a system of excellence, so that's going to take some time. I got only a couple minutes on this segment because I want to talk about referendum, but Mark, can you talk a little bit about the pathways? Because people are wondering about career and college pathways.
Yep, we talked about that with our kids the other day also. Our counselors have worked really hard on making sure we have kids ready from 8th grade all the way through 12th grade. So our current 9th graders already have a plan that can be changed on a yearly basis. And our CTE, our Career and Technical Education group, is going to get a document with about 10 different pathways that we right now at the high school have. And I want them to kind of figure out, are these the pathways we need to go forward with? Do we need to change them? Are the courses there correct? And then give it to our departments to add their courses so kids can see, not only in my Career and Technical Education course, what other courses meet my needs as I go into a career or college.
Absolutely. And I think that's the future of education. I think getting our kids ready to get them out into to interning, I think that's what we need to do. So I think this is the first step on a beautiful step. I don't even have time to talk about the Chromebook thing, man. It just is unbelievable. 1,000 high school kids have Chromebooks.
Screens are up. They're in Schoology. They're taking quizzes and tests and getting assessments back to teachers. If they didn't do well, they're retesting.
All right. Kelly, I got a minute.
Okay.
School improvement team.
Yeah.
What are those things?
So school improvement teams are part of a large system. It's beginning that conversation of looking at the data, and then what do we need to do around reading, math, and culture, and learning as a group. And we bring teachers to the table, we bring specialists to the table, and just have honest conversations about what can we do differently and how can we grow as a team. So,
yeah. And I wish we could talk more about it. I'm going to turn my attention here to, and I hope the producer can track me on it, so I'm going to turn my attention to the referendum. Is that all right? I want to be careful here because by statutes and things, I can't sit here and promote. I might just be doing that right now. But we have an election November 8th during the presidential election where we're going to be asking the communities for a renewal of what has been a generous component from our community when it comes to finances. We're going to ask to renew operating levy for the next 10 years. Excited about that. That basically is how we operate our school system. The second question will be what we are hoping is a tech levy. And some people might ask, why do we want to spend money on a tech levy or technology levy? And quite frankly, that's because what we could do is free up some of the things going on in our general operating fund to free it up and have kind of a pot of money sitting there used directly for technology. It's very clear that technology, everything from devices to infrastructure to networks, phones, all of those things, that's not going anywhere, and it's beginning to eat up a lot of our general operating budget. So it's important that we have a designated pot of money sitting there, and that will be question 2. I'm hopeful that, I better be careful. Anyway, I know we have a video that I want to show around the referendum, so why don't we go ahead and watch that.
We are a community that has embraced education for more than 150 years. We understand that education is vital for the future success of our students and our community and worth our investment.
Throughout Winona area public school classrooms, whether preschool, middle school, or adult learning, teachers strive to provide academic opportunities, and we have the desire to provide a world-class quality education. We are doing all we can to support our students in every way to learn, to feel safe, to be fed, nourished, and learning with tools and curriculum for the 21st century world that they will continue to learn and grow in.
Education is an investment.
Winona Area Public Schools is more than just a school district. It's a touchstone for our 12 diverse communities to come together around a common purpose to educate and inspire students, and to support their efforts and celebrate their achievements.
Give your students inspiration, and there's no telling where they'll go.
We are a savvy community that recognizes the value of strong public schools in providing strong academics, athletics, and arts programming for public and non-public students alike, and to attract families, professionals, and industry to the area.
As a graduate of the Winona Public School Systems, and now with daughters at Winona Senior High School, Winona Area Public Schools are great. The teachers are fantastic. It's a school system that takes kids from infants through 12th grade, engages their families, gets them involved. I can certainly attest to the effectiveness of the public school system.
Education is for everyone.
Dream big!
As any good business owner knows, investing in education pays dividends today and into the future.
I feel a strong school system plays a vital role in shaping our community in that it brings and retains young families and attracts businesses that bring quality employment. The fact of the matter is that a strong school system with the right investments can accommodate the needs of today's businesses, meet the expectations of young families, and help fulfill the vision of our community.
Science is an investment.
Art is an investment.
Technology is an investment.
Winona Area Public Schools continues to be the most comprehensive school system in the area, where students can thrive, explore, serve, perform, compete, and excel. But being comprehensive has a cost, requiring our continued investment. Your support is vital.
The state of Minnesota funds schools at a level that allows schools to be adequate. We dream bigger than that here in Winona Area Public Schools. We ask our employees, parents, businesses, and residents to be willing to continue to invest in education, to be willing to trust educators, to adjust to the times, to recognize the need for technology and for safety measures, to see a greater purpose and the need to provide funding for more than the minimum. While the state of Minnesota's support may falter over time, our commitment to students and the community should not. Our students ask a lot of us.
Dream big!
There is no greater investment that we make in our future than providing the extraordinary gift of an excellent education that every child deserves. These are children that we will send off to a time that many of us will never see. Let them be strong leaders of tomorrow who, when asked, will talk about the strong education and support they received from their community. On July 21st, our school board voted to hold a special election and have two questions on the November 8th ballot. Question 1 asks, should the current operating levy be renewed for 10 years beginning in 2018? And Question 2 asks, should a capital projects levy of $1 million a year for 10 years beginning in 2017 be approved to fund technology equipment and services? Please cast an informed ballot on November 8th. More information is available on the district website.
Thank you.
Wonderful video. Again, I want to be careful about what we say, but I want you to be able to make an informed decision when you go and into the ballot or into the place to go vote on November 8th. Any final thoughts about it? Any comments you want to make on that? I get all goosey when I see that kind of stuff.
Right. I've been here 20 years. I can't believe that. And it just reminds you how many great things are happening around the district, how many people are working so hard, from our cooks, our maintenance, to our teachers, our EAs. We're so lucky to have a comprehensive high school, and you saw all the technology happening and personalized learning, so we're just so fortunate.
Yeah. I will, again, just wrap it up by saying we are well aware of results and trying to get the results up the way we want to see them, and so that this community is proud. But please go out and make an informed vote here on November 8th. Thank you so much to the community for just your generosity and with your finances with us. You've been great with us, and we don't take that lightly. And I thank you for your time, and I'll see you, I guess, next month on the second Making the Grade of 16-17.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody. Yes, and I know you love the virtual stage here. Yeah. Outstanding.